Recently, I've made a video about 4 idols getting embroiled in big controversies just because they didn't look good enough. And based on that video alone, I believe you can already see how extreme netizens could get when it comes to idols' appearance. However, such an extreme nature doesn't necessarily result in drama all the time, because in today's video, I will cover some cases where people outright pointed out the terrible makeup on idols, and constantly push their management company for a better styling crew. Number 1. IVE's Wonyoung and Yuchin. As these 2 girls have been praised as the princesses of Starship Entertainment, and often given more sophisticated outfits as well as makeup compared to other members, most believe that they could only get the best of the best treatment for their recent promotion. Especially since Wonyoung and Yuchin are ex-members of IVE, aka the most popular project girl group ever, there are even more reasons for the company to ensure they are always at their finest. And yes, the girls were indeed at their peak visual throughout the debut era. But when they came back for the second promotion, fans started to realize something weird. First, let's talk about Yuchin. When appearing at Dream Concert, she was said to make quite a lot of fans startled, as they claimed she looked like a 30-year-old lady here with that makeup and outfit. It seems like the makeup artist had applied 10 tons of matte foundation on her face, while barely touching the lip color and blush. The contouring was also done at its bare minimum, and for such a matte foundation, Yuchin's face also looked bigger than actual, whereas her eyebrows are painted too dark and thick, making her face become disproportionate, and all that people see when looking at Yuchin are her brows. What's even funnier was that, instead of doing something to make Yuchin's look less basic, the stylist threw her the plainest dress and hairstyle ever, along with a pair of confusingly chunky earrings, and an irrelevant Naruto pair of shoes. After that huge rant on all fronts, fans thought they had successfully made Starship Entertainment reassess their makeup artists and stylists. But no, the nightmare showed no signs of stopping. When Yuchin appeared at Gucci Adidas launching event, fans realized their words barely held any weight because she literally looked just as bad with the same thick matte foundation, the same try-hard eyebrows, the bare minimum contouring, and worst of all, the non-existent lipstick that made Yuchin look like she had been starved for days. Meanwhile, the makeup layer that Yuchin did herself was said to make her look much brighter and full of life, with natural eyebrows and red lipstick. What they didn't expect was that Jang Wonyoung also joined the list of members done dirty by makeup artists. As the most famous visual and also the fan-voted center of IVE, never once did netizens see this day coming, but still, here we are. While all features on her face were harmonious and, technically speaking, that should make the eyebrow-defining job of her staff easier than ever, somehow, she still looked as if having 2 black caterpillars stuck onto her face all the time. Even when she did photo shoots and CFs for big brands, the eyebrows still looked oddly thick, outdated, and disproportionate. Unfortunately, Starship Entertainment didn't seem to care about that. And even until now, the black caterpillars were still happily living on Wonyoung's face. In fact, the number of occasions Wonyoung had to bring these 2 pets on set has increased, as on music shows, people also saw her take selfies with them. Some even compared her eyebrows to those of Crayon Shin-chan and Harry Men. And what makes netizens confused the most is the fact that the stylist team suddenly decided to give Wonyoung the weirdest baby bangs ever, which was said to look like cut grass and greatly destroy her facial proportion, making her forehead seem much shorter. This time, even Wonyoung's top-notch visual has to give up on saving the look. Things were so bad that on August 15th, fans altogether pushed the hashtag Starship changed the makeup shop for IVE, asking the company to stop making the girls lose face. However, this also seemed to be a vain attempt of dives, because not only did the company remain quiet, but makeup artist Shim Kyung-mi and Yoon So-ha also blocked all those people who complained about their work. Out of desperation, a fan tried removing the cursed bangs from Wonyoung's face, and needless to say, she looks much prettier and brighter. Number 2. aespa's Winter. Since the incident in the States where Winter was accused of having a plastic visual easily exposed under normal lighting, netizens have been keeping their eyes on her look closer and closer, to see if there were gaps to bash. However, as time passed, many said they realized Winter was legit the visual of aespa, and her makeup artists were all to blame for every time she looks bad. Besides that disastrous look when aespa was performing in the States, Winter has once again experienced another uncomfortable experience, where she looked like a lifeless body at the YSL Beauty event. According to netizens, there's a reason why SM Entertainment chose Winter as the stage name of Winter, and it had a lot to do with how her skin was as white as snow in this season. In aespa, she is also the one with the fairest complexion with a pinkish undertone, while other members were more on the yellowish spectrum. Regardless, the makeup artist still made her wear the fairest of fairest foundation. And as you can see, it looked like her head was a perfectly white oval ball plugged into her body in this picture. While her foundation was just as matte and white as Yuchin's, it's still a bit better because her contouring was on point and eye makeup was also vibrant enough to add in some vitality. Sadly, her lips and eyebrows just ruined it all. As if it was a huge trend among so-called professional makeup artists in K-pop, a powdery white foundation always went hand in hand with a lips color that couldn't be any more pale. And for the eyebrows, Winter's makeup artist didn't bother to touch them up or give them any colors to suit her bright orange hair. While some said that this could have been the effect of extreme flashlight, since under normal lighting, Winter didn't look that bad, most still disagree that her makeup artist did a poor job on Winter, since Karina, Giselle, and Ningning all looked perfectly fine under the impacts of flashlight. Number 3. Kai. When Kai appeared at Blue Dragon Series Awards, lots of fans were looking forward to seeing him at his finest because this event marked one of the biggest milestones for his acting career. However, right at the moment he walked onto the red carpet, all they'd ever felt was anger and disappointment because his makeup look looked so weird. There was even a thread on the coup dedicated only to whining about his makeup. And as the OP said, she had to zoom in to confirm that Kai's chopping eyebrows were really done by a professional makeup artist. Many complained that his brows looked patchy, uneven, and shaped weirdly. Some also noticed the woman barely did anything to his eyebrows. And because she was a freelancer, they believed this was the result of her playing too safe, of not being competent enough to know what would help complement his features, and of wanting to get the job done as fast as possible to eat away with the money SM Entertainment would pay. To those who have been following Kai for a long time, the makeup that day could also be called a product of super lazy makeup artists, because his bare face was said to look exactly the same as the touched-up face. When fans zoomed in, they also noticed the lips color wasn't applied evenly, making Kai's lip corners look as gray as ash. Seeing these pictures of Kai, some fans even joked that this is actually the transparent makeup style, and only makeup artists with excellent skills could do that. Number 4. A-Pink's Chorong. With the subunit debut most recently, Chorong and Bomi have made headlines for helping many K-pop fans, including those that have already had children, relive their youthful days as supporters of Gen 2 idols. Unfortunately, it was also for such a grown-up target market that Chorong's makeup artist seemingly misunderstood her fans would love to see something colorful and dated like the 2000s. Eventually, this ended up creating a hilarious scene where Chorong appeared like Annabelle, and considering her age of a bit over 40, this atmosphere became even more awkward. While female idols often opt for wispy bangs to look younger, the fake blunt bangs given to Chorong was said to be a mere disaster, as it made her look questionably childish, and created the impression of trying hard not to look her age. As if that wasn't bad enough, the makeup artists also put tons of kilos of white matte foundation on her face, and literally attached 3 tomatoes to it, 2 on the cheeks and 1 on the lips. It was probably a blessing that they didn't go all in for the 2000s combo, where her eye makeup could have been glittery blue, but still, the overall look was a disaster. Her makeup was so bad that right after the show, she made headlines for showing severely downgraded visuals due to horrendous makeup. And based on the photos released, it could be seen that even her fans gave up editing, and just posted whatever available for the sake of her online presence. So, do you think the makeup artists weren't so sober when doing these makeups? Or did they deliberately make these idols dirty due to some reason? Comment down below to share your thoughts with us. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe to BeBoss TV for more interesting K-pop content. Thank you for watching.